The official version of the events that took place on July 7, 2005 appears straightforward. 4 British Muslims carrying large rucksacks packed with explosives caught a train from Luton to London. There, they blew themselves up. 3 on the Underground, 1 on a bus. 52 passengers were killed, 784 injured. But we have found that a significant proportion of British Muslims question whether that's really what happened that day.
Do you think that the government has told the whole truth about the 7/7 bombings?
Absolutely not.
I don't think them 4 guys did it. They could have just been like passengers on the train and the buses.
I think that the government, they were looking for people to blame. It was convenient.
How common are these views? Channel 4 News commissioned a survey of 500 British Muslims to find out. They were asked, has the government told the whole truth about the July 7th bombings? Nearly 60% of those polled said no. And when we asked, were the 4 men identified as the bombers actually responsible for the attacks, nearly a quarter said no.
These views can't be dismissed as belonging to a minority fringe of extremists or fantasists. What's significant about our survey is that it's based on a random selection of ordinary British Muslims from across the whole country.
I travelled to a number of cities and spoke to ordinary Muslims from different communities and different backgrounds. Exactly the type of people Tony Blair said today he wanted to reach out to. Leeds, West Yorkshire. This is where 3 of the bombers grew up. Revelations at a recent trial that 2 of them had been under surveillance a year before the attacks have increased doubts here. Musarat Sajawal is a voluntary worker in the city. She believes the attacks may have been set up as part of an exercise for the security services.
Back, please, unless you want to speak.
When trains were being bombed, there were training exercises for the police going on around terrorist attacks, and it's just very orchestrated, constructed, a little bit like training for the army and then going in and doing the real thing.
Do you think you're being paranoid?
I don't think that we're being paranoid. How many times are we going to arrest people purely for knowing somebody, purely for having breathed the same air? Why is that happening?
In a Birmingham snooker hall, I found others who believe Muslims have been scapegoated for the attacks. I met Mohammed Hafiz, a bank clerk, and his friend Osman Khan.
Even that picture of them, all 4 of them together, that was a fake.
Why do you say it was a fake? Why was it
fake? That's been proven. Basically, when people reviewed the picture, you could see, like, his legs were behind the railings and his body was in front.
But do you honestly think that they would fake evidence and that they would blame it on these 4 men if these 4 men didn't do it?
I mean, these 4 men are deceased now, they're passed away. So obviously, you'd rather blame them because there's nobody to argue the case.
To be part of the government, you got to be a good liar. Put it that way.
On the other side of the city, I met Dr. Mohammed Naseem, who's lived in Britain for nearly 40 years. He practices homeopathic medicine. Dr. Naseem also sees flaws in the established account of the bombings.
There is a witness, and he saw a hole in the carriage, the floor of the carriage. That means the explosive device did not come from the body of a person, it came from the floor of the carriage.
Some of the opinions about the July 7th bombings may seem shocking or even offensive, but there's now a growing movement on the internet which claims to have uncovered a conspiracy to suppress the truth about what really happened.
The events of 7/7 did not happen the way they've been described.
In much the same way as 9/11 gave birth to a host of online conspiracy theorists, 7/7 has also spawned a community of people who totally disbelieve the government.
Dozens of websites list what they claim are apparent inconsistencies, errors and even lies in the official version of events.
And let's be clear, none of the people on the bus said they saw any Asian men.
No, they didn't.
The other witnesses said they didn't, but did you see any Asian men?
None whatsoever. None on board the bus, none carrying a rucksack.
Zia Sardar is an academic and author who says that underlining these conspiracy theories is a community that feels under threat.
As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no basis in fact to many of these conspiracies. I mean, this shows how far conspiracies have actually taken hold of the Muslim mind to a very large extent. Muslims see themselves as victims of kind of, if you like, Western policies and Western military actions. So if you have a victimhood mentality, then conspiracies, come into play.
Other Muslim thinkers see these beliefs as evidence of worrying levels of alienation.
It's still a minority among Muslims, but if there is this substantial minority which is detached from reality, it is worrying.
Why are they detached from reality?
I think they do not feel that they are part of the society. There are no role models who are seen by Muslims as within the establishment, within the community. So they have a general feeling of being outsiders. And so this tends to make people believe easily that the others are doing something behind their backs.
A significant proportion of those questioned in our survey don't believe that the 4 bombers did it. But if not them, then who? We asked, were the government or security services involved in the July 7th bombings? Nearly a quarter said yes.
You honestly think the government had something to do with those attacks?
Not yet, of course they have.
But would they really want their own citizens to die, though? 52 people?
It's all about politics. No one cares in politics.
It's about power and money. That's what it comes down to.
Politics.
They want to be at the top, and the people are at the bottom.
I think the MI5 knew what was going on, and if the MI5 knew what was going on, I'm certain that the Cabinet will have known what was going on.
How do you explain the fact, then, that 2 of the men identified as the bombers appeared in videos where they explain their actions?
I think that we live in an age now where technology is easy to play around with and create images, so it's not something that's very, very difficult to do.
Who do you think would have faked the videos?
Those who are interested in hiding the truth, they would be responsible for making the videos.
And who are they?
It is the government.
So you think somehow the government was involved in faking the videos?
That is a strong possibility.
The survey also revealed that a large section of British Muslims feel estranged from the police and security services. When asked, have the security services fabricated evidence to convict terrorist suspects? Over half said yes. Our survey shows a significant minority of the Muslim community at odds with mainstream thinking.
We must tell the general public what injustice is being done to us.
Dr. Naseem is also chair of the Central Mosque in Birmingham. This is how he responded to the recent arrest of the wife and relative of one of the bombers, Muslims who were then released without charge.
Where Muslims have to be depicted as source of terrorism. This allows the government, like Hitler did in Germany, he picked on Jews, we are being picked up. This is a ploy to make the Muslim fall guys and take away the liberties of the British people.